Thank you for joining us today. My name's Sean, and I'm an account manager here at voices.com. And our guest here is Katie.
Hi, everyone.
So, Katie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the voiceover world?
Okay, great. Well, so I've been with Voices for less than 3 months now, and I got started basically through word of mouth. Someone I knew had joined Voices, and they recommended it to me. I mentioned that, yeah, I was told, oh, you have a nice voice, you should do commercials, that kind of stuff. Didn't really think too much of it. But after hearing about that, I decided to look into it and see what it offered. And so I joined, and I yeah, got my first job within a week of joining after joining for the premium membership. That was back in December, and yeah, so far it's been good.
Awesome. So you had no experience in the voiceover world before that. You kind of just went into it.
Right, totally went into it. The only remotely similar experience I had was we did some animation for children's with Minecraft videos. So I was the voice for that, and also did like the action for videos for a company over in Israel. So a little bit of experience just kind of using a mic and recording myself and video editing and stuff like that. But yeah, a tiny piece of experience beforehand.
Awesome. So how hard was it for you to kind of learn the whole recording process and everything, or was it, was it kind of easy for you coming from that background?
Yeah, no, not too bad. I mean, there's always a bit of a learning curve. I mean, tuning the mic, seeing how, loud the voice is and stuff, and editing your voice down in the software. But really not difficult. Just comes with a little bit of practice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what about your equipment? So what did you start off with?
Right. So I still have the same right now.
Cool.
We have some recording equipment. As my husband's a musician, so we use that. So my microphone is a Rode NT1A.
Okay.
Then for the recording of the Sony Producer, and for the editing software, we use just Sony Vegas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so, reasonably, what do you think? All the gear cost you kind of to get started.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would say to have the kind of equipment that we have, I mean, it would be a few $100s.
Few $100s.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'd probably say the microphone would be a couple $100s. Yeah.
Awesome. So how have you been finding the whole process? By the way, if anybody does have questions through the webinar, feel free to ask in the Q&A, and we'll try to get to all the questions that you guys have. But yeah, so have you been finding the whole process so far, dealing with clients, recording auditions? Why don't you tell
Right.
us a little more about your typical kind of day?
Sure. Yeah. So far it's been really, really positive. What I've done, so you get emails sent to you for jobs that are a voice match for you. So I've put a filter in it because you can get hundreds of them in the day.
Mhm.
So I put a filter on it for jobs 300 and higher to get an email response. So then I just find a good time of day to log into Voices, and I check those emails and look at the job and what they're offering. And if I think I'm a good fit for that, then I'll apply for those as they go. And then I'll have a look around the site and see other jobs that are available, and where I'm a voice match for those. And again, if I think it might be a good fit for the job, then I'll apply. Basically for each audition, I would say it takes about 5 minutes to go get the sample script, read a bit from that, edit that down, upload it, do a quick proposal, and send it off.
Awesome. So do you have like a system in your day? Do you have a time of day that you like to do all your
Yeah.
auditions, like in morning, night?
Right. So it kind of depends on the jobs that come through, but I would say right now it's usually about early afternoon that I'll go and start looking, and then I'll might do some more in the evening time. But usually, yeah, kind of early afternoon, I'll go and start doing that. I take an
Cool.
account for traffic and other noises and things that are going on.
Right, yeah. So
Yeah. So
how's
time of
your
day.
so do you just record in your bedroom there, or?
Right. So this is
Yeah.
kind of like our little home studio thing that we
Cool.
have, a little home office. We have some soundproofing things on the walls to help keep the noise at bay. So I just have, yeah, my microphone and editing software on my computer, ready to go. So I can just kind of come in. Quite a few of my jobs have been directed sessions. So I will go on a phone patch with the client and they'll talk to me in my headphones, and I'll do the recording there and get feedback.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
How do those directed sessions usually go? Like, what kind of directions do they give you, these
Right.
clients?
So, I mean, my very first job that I got was a directed session. And so we were patched into Seattle with a client and the director and another person. And I had never done that before. So it was a little bit intimidating, but they were excellent, really encouraging. And they just basically, I'll do like a run through of the script, and then
Mhm.
we'll just kind of go piece by piece. So depending on what they're looking for, maybe they wanted more emphasis or inflection on certain words, more pauses, slow it down, speed it up, and so forth. So each script is different, depends completely on what they're looking for, if it's radio or web based or just an internal project that they're doing. So yeah, every job is different usually, which is also kind of nice too.
Yeah,
Makes it interesting.
keeps it fresh. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So we do have a few questions here. This one kind of related to the directed sessions. Do you have a
Yeah.
specific type of connection at home that you use?
Right. So I don't right now. So we'll just do like a phone patch or through Skype, which has been fine.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they do ask for certain ones like I think it's called like a source direct, or there's an
Right. Source connect.
IDSN or ISDN,
Yep.
some other
Yeah.
source which I don't have here but could get if it's necessary. There's
Right.
also like companies in the area that if I needed to do that, I could book that with them and then just have use their equipment and have the director um, uh, provide feedback that
Right.
way. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So have you found that, have you done any recording sessions in a proper studio, or everything you've done so far is from home?
Yeah, everything I've done so far is home. So
Cool.
I look forward to maybe doing that in the studio. I haven't done that before, but yeah, so far it's at home, and yeah, either on my own time and I send in the takes. I typically give them 24 hours, notice that I'll get their work back to them within that time period,
Hmm.
or we set up a time to do the directed session, and then in which case I just send them the files once we're done.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So how much, we have a question here from Elizabeth. For
Mhm.
when you get hired for a job, how do you know how much to quote and how much money to ask for?
Yeah, so I mean, you ask for or you quote for that in your proposal. So when you send off your audition, and with the job listed itself, it'll always tell you what their budget is. Sometimes, most of the time, it's like a between a certain amount. So we'll say between 100 and $250, 250 or 500. Sometimes they just come right out and say it's $300 or so on. So I use that as a starting off point, but I also look to what they're asking for.
Hmm.
Is it commercial? Is it broadcast? Or is it internal? So on. And I use a rate sheet that is on voices.com. It's also on other websites to give you an idea of what you should get for your time. So I base it on that. So generally speaking, if it's a job that's saying, between $200 and $500, I'll do something in the middle to a little bit up from that. Or if they've asked for or if they've given a very specific amount, like $200 flat, then I'll bid that amount. And if
Cool.
I feel like they're asking for something and not offering very much, then I might just pass on the job itself.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have another question here from Elizabeth. How many jobs do you do per week, and what percent of auditions do you get the job for?
Right. So I haven't counted the auditions that I do. I do know that people will. I've heard I don't do as many auditions, I guess, as typical, but I usually do maybe about 5 auditions a day, so maybe five days a week.
Okay.
Kind of, it totally depends though too. But you're definitely going to have a higher percentage of auditions than you are for jobs. I mean, I've probably applied for, a couple hundred, and I've received 9. So it's, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
3 months, 9 jobs is pretty good. Like, have you,
Yeah.
and yeah, so let's, we'll answer one of, um, these Q&A questions here from El Medina.
Sure.
So how'd you recognize that your voice was appropriate for the first voice job that you had?
Yeah. So I look to see what they're asking for. Some jobs are pretty ambiguous. They just kind of say female, and you're like, okay, a North American accent. So it's pretty
Hmm.
broad. Some will say of a certain age bracket that they're looking for, and they're looking for, upbeat, or they're looking for calm. A lot of them now are asking for like authentic, approachable, non-commercial sound. They want it to be like you're talking to your best friend or having a conversation. They don't want it to be salesy. So I've been
Right.
finding a lot of those are asking for that, which I find my voice to be. So I will apply for those jobs. I also have a look at the script. If it's something that I feel, I look at it and I approach it. Well, if I wrote this, like what would I be looking for my promotion or marketing or whatever I'm using this script for, or advertising?
Hmm.
And I try to kind of get in their head of what they might be looking for and how they want that voice to sound. And I just yeah, go from there.
Cool. Cool. um, so did you so here we'll get a couple of these questions answered.
Sure.
Um, so did you get VO with a guest account? I think what Jeff's asking is, were you able to get jobs with a guest account?
Right. So you can't apply to any jobs with a guest account. So you could have your profile up, and if someone could come and approach you for the jobs. But I only had a guest account for maybe a couple of weeks before I switched to the premium. So I didn't receive any jobs before that.
Okay. So we can answer a question about some software. What kind of software do you use? What do you use to record into and edit and everything like that?
Right. So the editing, like I said, is the Sony Vegas, and then I've got the Sonar Producer, which helps with the microphone
Okay,
transmit to the editing software.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the interface going into the software.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
I do have a recommendation for everyone. If you're looking for a cheap recording software and editing software, Audacity,
Hmm.
Audacity. It has all the basic capabilities you'll need. It does everything you'll want it to do for voiceover. So it's free. Check it out. Then from there, you can see what you'll need or don't need, and you can upgrade from there. But Audacity is a good one to start with.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, have a look around and see what you can, work with. For me, that's just the equipment that we had. So we
Hmm.
went with that, and it seemed to work, and I got more familiar with it. So yeah, I mean, you can do the research and find those softwares that you can give it a go and that are user friendly for sure.
Totally. Yeah, there's a whole bunch out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
yeah. Adobe Audition, that's a common one I see people
Yeah.
use. FL Studio, Pro Tools is kind of a more expensive one, but it works
Yeah.
pretty well. All right, we'll get through some of these questions. We have some great ones coming through. Um, so we got a question here. How do I improve the recording quality? There's a buzzing in the background. So when you notice that there's issues with your recording environment, do you treat them with recording or do you edit them out after?
Yeah, so it does depend. So I mean, I can hear some noises that will come through, and I know to not bother right now.
Mhm.
If not, it seems all quiet, and I record and I put the headphones on and I normalize it, and I can hear, yeah, that kind of buzzing noise. Then usually with the noise gate is where I'll change that, so I'll filter that a bit more so that only more of my noise gets through. So I'll hire it. So maybe I'll speak louder. So just the higher sounds will come through and the background noise will diminish. Like we have the computer running in the background. So sometimes if it's kind of getting a little bit on overdrive, then I'll change the noise gate for that to
Okay.
eliminate all that background noise.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So are you, so Kat's asking here, do you do other work or is this your main gig now? Like, have you transitioned full time into voiceovers?
Right. I haven't yet. Because mentioned I probably do it does depend on the day, but I try to log it and to see what I'm doing. So I'd say on average, I spend probably about 5 hours a week on voice auditions as well as the jobs that I receive.
Okay.
So that's about 20 hours a month, right? So not full time, hours.
Hmm.
Um, but like I said, I've only been for kind of less than 3 months. So I'm just really getting my feet wet and literally finding my voice and also learning as I go. So I think it's possible. I don't know if you could do it solely on just like one avenue. Like you would might want to, yeah, reach out to other companies that do voiceovers or other marketing websites, things like that, and really kind of push yourself. Have a website so people can find you. Um, but I think it's definitely possible,
Hmm.
and how much you're willing to commit to it and to audition more
Cool.
often. So yeah.
Yeah, that's another great thing about voices.com, because you can use
Mhm.
your profile as kind of like a one-stop destination. You can put your demos up there and kind of use it as a marketing tool as well. So not just
Yeah,
for
exactly.
auditions, but yeah, it's like a Facebook page or something for
That's right.
for
Yeah,
for
for
voiceovers.
people to find you and stuff. So I mean, the more
Yeah.
I've been in it, the more I'm getting now, like private jobs, private invitations to jobs that aren't listed, versus that wouldn't happen, if I didn't have a place for people to find me. So
Right.
yeah, I'm kind of looking at it. Well, it's been just a couple of months. Purely just kind of got into it just to see. So, by the kind of 6 month mark, kind of like a benchmark to be like, okay, do I want to like full throttle into this,
Hmm.
or just kind of keep it as um side project or something?
Side
Yeah.
gig, yeah. But
Yeah.
no, you've been doing really well as a side gig. I mean, you could probably transition pretty easily to full time.
Yeah, maybe, right? So, I mean, it's like I said, I was spending, let's say, 20 hours a month, and making about $1,000 a month. So, I mean, really, that's, it's not bad numbers for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Um, so Michael's asking another question here. Do you have a single demo reel, or do you have multiple demo reels? And what types of pieces do you usually put on there?
Right. So I think I have five. I do need to up that. It's recommended that you do have one for like each of the categories. So if you have a
Mhm.
business demo, audiobooks demo, internet, radio, television, so on. So I do have five of them right now. So um, yeah, and I'd like to do a few more to be able to be found better for that. Um, they're, yeah, just the ones that I found some scripts online and recorded that, put some music to it, just try to make it a little bit more professional sounding. Um, yeah, if I keep going with this, I'll probably get some professional ones done as well, just so yeah, people are listening to it, you have kind of a better idea what it might sound once it's all polished, kind of thing. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's good to have them in the different categories, because if someone has a radio spot that they're looking for, they might put in a search for, female, young adults, radio. And so they plug that in, you'll come up because you have that in your tags. If you didn't have a radio demo, then they might not be able to find you like that.
For sure, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's definitely a way to optimize your profile and making sure that you're
Yeah.
getting the best results possible.
Yeah.
Another
Definitely.
recommendation I'd have for that is, once you get your first gig with somebody, once you start working, you can ask them with their permission if it'd be okay if you can use that spot as a
Mhm.
demo for your reel. Many
Yeah.
times clients are okay with that as well. So
Yeah. I
some
haven't done that yet. I should probably do that.
yeah, hey, never too late.
Yeah.
um, I can answer this really quick. How much is a membership? It's $3.99 a year. That gets you the premium membership with us. So that is a quick one here. Any free sound editors? Yeah, Audacity again. That's a free one. Or GarageBand if you have a Mac. Um, Reaper. Yeah, it's Michael saying Reaper here. That's another good one. Um, and Richard, yes, this webinar will be recorded, so we'll send you a copy as well tomorrow. Um, so did you, Karen has a great question here. Did you have a demo already done and uploaded to your voices.com profile, or did you submit for some auditions before even having a demo?
I did. I just submitted auditions before I had a demo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just got
Yes.
started right away.
I did. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
once I yeah, kind of went into the premium, I just got like this flood of jobs because I hadn't set up a filter yet. So a bunch of them came through uh, for for jobs, and I just went on and just started just banging them out and just applying for them, see what happened. And then I was like, oh, should start looking at demos, but I was too interested in applying for the jobs to do a demo. So I'm not a good spokesperson for getting demos done, because I definitely procrastinated that and then realized, okay, I should probably have some other things there on my profile. So when they do come, if they do come and check it out, then there's something there. But for me,
Mhm.
it was like, well, they're looking for, I haven't come across any jobs that didn't want the specific read of their job. Like they have the sample script. So that's what they're asking you. Sometimes they'll even say like no generic demos in the audition. So they want you to read their words. So really, at least in my like total non-professional opinion, that's what gets you the job. You read
Mhm.
their words, how they want you to read them.
Totally. Yeah. That's, I mean, almost the majority of the cases, especially through our website, they're hiring you based on the proof of how you're going to sound for that audition.
Yeah,
They might go back and listen to your demos a bit, but
for sure.
they're hiring you based on the auditions, definitely.
For sure.
So, same question from Rod here. Do you recommend jumping with both feet or getting some sample demos first? I think last question kind of got into
Yeah,
that.
I always jump in with both feet, but it totally depends on you. You know,
Yeah,
like, yeah, why not get started, right?
for sure. And then you can kind of see what you need or don't need, and
Yeah, and have a
you know.
search around of other people's profiles and see what their demos sound like and how many
Mhm.
do they have, and that, and search online for sample scripts and listen to radio commercials and TV commercials. And when you're online and a ad pops up and there's a voiceovers, I mean, when you start getting into it, you hear all these things. And so listen to all that, and then decide what you think might be a best representation of your voice in those different categories on your page.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of goes into, how do you determine, this is a question from Elizabeth, how do you determine which demo, what a demo is best for, like
Right.
internet versus audiobook, etc.
Yeah, and that really, it does come from, yeah, just kind of a little Google search really, and look for some sample scripts. There's lots of places, including voices.com, that give you some sample scripts for free that you can use, and it will have it by category. But also just, yeah, kind of listening to every day. You have the radio on and you hear an ad, and radio ads tend to be more fast paced and quick. They're 15 seconds or whatnot. Internet ones are sometimes a little bit more quirky or different, offbeat. Really just kind of listening and doing a little bit of research, that you'll get a good idea of which demo is best for which category.
For sure. We have resources on our site as
Mhm.
well. If you're looking for demos, you can find scripts on our website. If you can't find them, send me an email and I'll email you some scripts. Not a problem. Um, my email, I'll send it to you at the end of this webinar here. So yeah, this is a good question from uh, Michaela. Can you get jobs in the UK from voices.com, or is it only US based?
Right. Yeah. So as far as I know,
Mhm.
you can get them from all over. I had a job from in Tel Aviv, and then in the States and in Canada.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, imagine they post from all over. I'm certainly not the expert, not only the ones that I've seen. So you probably know better than I.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we're a worldwide company, so
Yeah.
we UK, anywhere in the world. We work in over 130 languages. So yeah, there's opportunities for every type of voice and every type of language. Um, so do you find that this is also kind of to do? This is a question from Vincent. Kind of has to do with their voice as well. So do you find that job opportunities focus more on tone and timbre or accent proficiency? And what do you consider your strong suit?
Right. I mean, it totally depends on the job. I see lots of different jobs, and each one is different. I mean, it's like kind of an annoying answer, but it's true. I mean, sometimes they're looking for specific accents from specific regions. A lot of the times I see ones that they're looking for just kind of neutral accents, but of course it depends on who they're going to market that to. I mean, if it's in a certain place with a quite a heavy accent, then and it's a radio commercial, then they might want someone that has the same accent, not someone from Canada that they're going to be like, what is this girl saying, doesn't doesn't work. So it really depends on the job and what they're looking for.
Hmm.
Um, Within your own voice, I guess you kind of get an idea. So I look to the jobs that I get to the jobs, or I look at the jobs that I get liked from that, and you start to see, a bit of a pattern. Of course, there's, exceptions. Sometimes you think you did, that, you didn't get it, and then they love you, and other times you're like, I
Hmm.
nailed that, and you're like, why did I get hired? So it is, it's hard to say. I guess I would find that my voice, it kind of falls more into that, authentic, relatable girl
Hmm.
next door kind of voice, conversation. So with the jobs that I get are definitely ones that are appealing to that. I've gotten a few like nonprofit kind of jobs, and they're looking, for fundraising or things like that. So more like appealing to a crowd. And
Hmm.
so I guess I have that kind of sound of trustworthiness maybe within that. And so I've maybe gotten hired on that. I've also done ones for, technology ones that were just very professional sounding things too. So it's a learning process. Like I said, it's been less than 3 months. I'm very much learning as I go, as anyone would, especially if you don't have a certain background in broadcasting or recording. Then
Hmm.
you really just do learn as you go, in the feedback that you get from jobs or not getting the jobs.
Awesome. So how is the feedback in dealing with clients? Like, do they let you know right away? Do you send them an audition when you're talking to them? Um, or is it after do you finish everything afterwards? Like, hey, can you do this again? Or how do you
Oh
find
yeah.
that goes?
I mean, it does depend. I mean, there's some jobs that, except with the directed sessions. So
Hmm.
as soon as I'm hired, we set up that, and then they just, give direction from there. I've said most of my jobs have been that I've pretty much given what they've looking for in the audition. So it's not a lot of change, which I think is, probably the reason why someone gets hired, or I got hired for that job, is because I read the script. And I do
Right.
try to do that. Sometimes I do a little research into the company. So when I see the company name, I'll go look on their website and what videos do they already have? What kind of tone do they seem to do? Are they funny? Are they, very serious? Are they very polished? That kind of idea. And so ideally when I do the audition, it's close to what they're looking for. And then it's just a matter of, a little bit of, pacing or something like that. Or, emphasis on certain words or things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, if it's a directed session, you get immediate feedback, which is great.
Hmm.
Because then you can have it completed, you send it to them, and they're not going, oh, now we want something like this. And within the session, you can do all kinds of different, versions of it if they want, and then they can use what they like. For the other ones that they're just ask you to do it, yourself, and then send it back. um I find really, most of the times the only thing they've come back to me with is that they've changed wording and they want me to read it
Okay.
again. Yeah,
I
which is
see.
another point of contest for some people, whether or not you should kind of do that within that
Hmm.
contract or not. But I find, yeah, they've gone back to the script and put it together, and then they realized this word sounds better or something like that,
Hmm.
or the pacing. But yeah, for the most part, it's been pretty smooth, which is nice.
Awesome. Awesome. And this kind of goes into Kat's question here. What type of jobs have you been awarded?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, there's been like a few like nonprofit stuff, so kind of looking for donations or help, so like web-based ones or radio. Then there's been a couple of internal presentations. For my first job was one, it was for like recruitment, um, and yeah, like presenting to employees, so kind of not training, but sort of just kind of internal.
Okay.
um, Others have been just kind of web-based ads. Um, there's one that was like a presentation, or they were like kind of unveiling their new product. So it was like a presentation video for their launch, and
Okay.
that was the voiceover for that. So there's been a few kind of varying ones. I also did one that was much more of like a comedic kind of web-based one. Like it was just kind of like mama jokes kind of thing for this, not exactly that, but that kind of idea. So it was like kind of back and forth. I had to make emoji sounds and stuff, so that was fun and that was interesting. So
Cool.
There's been quite a variety. I'd say though that that nonprofit thing that I mentioned, and that kind of looking for fundraising, looking for donations, appealing to people, have definitely stuck out for the kind of jobs that I received.
Awesome. So are you very like picky with the jobs that you choose?
Right.
Or yeah.
I mean, not not totally. I mean, I'm totally
No.
learning. I do the research and I look at the job and I'm going, I try to I try not to apply to jobs that I don't think is going to be a good fit. If they're looking for
Mhm.
like a really, because the voice range is so broad, really. It says young adult or adult, and then young adult, and then there's middle aged and senior and kid and teen, what have you. So I'm in like
Mhm.
the young adult and middle aged, but middle aged can mean a lot of different things. And if they're looking for like a 60-year-old motherly kind of voice, that's probably not me.
Mhm.
So I could apply for the job, but most likely that's, just, kind of no. So unless it's like super high paying job, then I'll tend to not kind of go for that. So yeah, I don't know if I'd say picky or not. I think I'm trying to do the whole like work smarter, not harder thing.
Right. Okay.
So I look for the jobs and what I think I could, is best suited for me versus doing a whole bunch. I mean, when I first started, the jobs would come in and I'd be like, just apply for everything. And there's my
Mhm.
voice. And I'm looking through and I'm like, got some jobs, some likes, but there's quite a few that didn't. And I'm going, huh. And then I look at them and I'd realize like, that's not what they were going for at all. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Picky-ish, but just more to be, yeah, smarter about it, I guess, and time efficient too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No doubt. But you never know. Like there was one of our voice artists. He applied, I think, it's just on a whim to a Caribbean. They wanted an accent, though, a Caribbean accent. He's
Yeah.
from Alberta, and he just went and did his regular kind of voice. I guess he's like,
Yeah.
why not? Or like maybe bored or
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah.
they ended up switching their whole direction. They liked his voice so much that they're like, you know what? Let's go with this guy, and he got the
That's it.
job. They went
Yeah,
with
so you
him.
never know, right?
Never
And
know.
if you're doing something like that, it's like, yeah, don't take it personally if they're looking for a Caribbean accent and you
Hmm.
totally didn't, or you faked it not so good and they didn't hire you, but take the shot. It's up to you what you decide, is worth it for sure. So, and the more you do, and yeah, I've done some other voices where I'm just completely, changed it up and but it's a good learning experience too. I mean, if you get it,
Hmm.
awesome. If you don't, at least you're trying and you're seeing what happens by going outside your comfort zone and seeing what your
Yeah.
vocal range really is.
Yeah, every audition is practice. Like everyone
Yes,
that you do is
exactly.
is gonna make you better.
Yeah.
There's a good question here. Somebody told me to get a voiceover agent, or any advice, or is voices.com enough? Like, are you represented?
I'm not. No.
Mhm.
I This has been the first step to doing voiceover acting completely. And I've heard that. I've heard people having agents, having vocal coaches, things like that. And I think it's if it's something you really want to pursue, like your full time, like that's it. I mean, go for it. I mean, do whatever, take whatever avenues you can to promote yourself and your voice. Um, I've been with less than 3 months. I'm still just kind of doing it and seeing what happens. I'm gonna reevaluate another few months, and maybe that's something that I might do. But for now, I'm just kind of seeing what this takes me and see if I'm still having fun with it and still enjoy it, by 6 months or a year, um, versus just kind of throwing it all in, investing it into that and getting the agent and stuff. It's kind of seeing what I can do right now. So it
Mhm.
really depends on you and where you're coming from and what you truly want this to be for you.
For sure. Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
starting ground here, to
Yeah.
kind of test the waters, see dip your toe in, jump head first, whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah. And you can control that stuff. I mean, the jobs that you apply for, the ones that you don't, or the demos and all of it is you and you're,
Hmm.
representing yourself, but with with help on this website. So there's, other websites that offer the same thing and yeah, or agents or even just approaching local businesses in the area that do voiceovers, and so you could send your demo reel to them and be like, yeah, if you're ever looking for someone. I mean, there's lots of commercials that come around here that aren't specific to voices.com. They have their own avenues to find their voiceover actors. So, if I wanted to, or if I do decide to do that, I can totally send it off, and this has provided me with some experience. So I can say, well, I've done, a job for this person or that, and I've, had some success. So instead of just sending it off with nothing, at least I've started a build of experience.
Awesome. So how about, we had a good question here about how you record. So the question was, do you record sitting up or standing up or sitting
Yeah.
down?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But tell us, do you do any like preparations? Do you like drink hot tea, like eat an apple? Like what do you do to get
Yeah.
yourself ready to
Yeah.
record?
Well, initially I did nothing. I just sat down, went and said the words. As I got going, I, kind of searched around what do people suggest? We have some books on music and vocal training for that, which I'm not a part of. I haven't done that, but I pulled the book down and saw that, about, not drinking hot liquids, but not having cold either. Like the warm temperature is
Mhm.
good for this. And for the most part, I don't really do that. But sometimes when I think about it, or if I do have a job to do, I will hydrate as much as I can, and also kind of swish the water around and stuff to get rid of like any of that kind of like pops or smacking noise and stuff
Mhm.
like that might be caused from dry mouth or something like that.
Right.
So I will do that. I immediately will do like the take, and I'll listen, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally tell I need to, do a little bit of clearing and have something to drink and kind of relax the cords. Or even just the timing. If I've done like a bunch of auditions or had like a long job or something, then I'll maybe wait and rest my vocal cords a little bit
Mhm.
before doing that. I mean, there are people that say they do like 15, 20 auditions a day. I'm like, whoa, like, so you would definitely have to take care of your vocal cords for that. And yeah, I sit down
Sit
in front
down.
of my computer with my mic and the screen here to help kind of with that like sounds and stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, press record on Sony Vegas and go for it.
Cool. Yeah, those plosives, they can really get
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
like
no, kind of learning to, if you're too close to the mic, or step back, or turn up the volume, turn it down, those kind of
Mhm.
things. And yeah, you'll hear that those sounds a lot larger than some other consonants versus vowels, and all
Yep.
that stuff is totally learning. Like, it's one thing to talk, it's another to kind of hear your voice recorded, and
Right.
and also yeah, the kind of acting component of it too. You don't just kind of reading, or they're looking kind of for that. You hear a bit of that, like you want to hear that smile in your voice when you're talking. You're like, what does that even mean? But when you actually smile or you gesture, you can hear it, and it sounds a lot more real than if you're just talking like this into the microphone. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah, I think mic technique is something that can be overlooked sometimes, but yeah,
yeah,
it's very important in how the final product's going to
yeah,
sound. Yeah. If you
yeah.
find
Like,
it too many P's, like yeah, pop screen,
yes,
like speak into it off axis, so like a little bit kind of to the side. There's different techniques to get rid of that stuff.
definitely.
And yeah.
Yeah, and this is a good avenue to do that, because you can audition for as much or as little as you want. So,
Hmm.
play with it and hear your voice and see what you think your voice you know your niche is, maybe, or if it's not, or if you're the every person and can just throw yourself into the role. And it's a good way to do it without being too much pressure of, yeah, I've hired an agent and I've got a website and all this stuff, and it's like thrown in there. Here it's, you can throw yourself into it, but it's not a huge investment,
Hmm.
you know.
It's a safe zone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but with good potential within that safe zone too, which is, not a lot of jobs or um, fields can offer that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. So how about this is a good question for Michael. How many takes do you do to get the right one to send? So when you're
Mhm.
auditioning, how do you know if it's the right one?
Yeah. Well, it's hard to know. So I'll take the script, and I'll go and I'll just read it. But when I read it for the first time, I'll record it. So I'll read it, record it, listen back, and I'll be like, nailed it, or like, oh no, that was terrible. Because as you read the words, you're realizing what they're looking for. So if it's a bit of longer
Mhm.
script and it's only a line, I mean, there's variance in that. So sometimes it's only a couple of takes. Sometimes it's like you've done a few and you're just like, just not sounding right, like something's off. And so then, you can look back at the scripts, and um then you might get it. You read that line, and you realize like, oh, if I emphasize it this way, that makes much more sense. Like,
Mhm.
or it flows better. So yeah, I mean, if I was in like 10th take, I probably would quit and be like, maybe this just isn't working out. So I would say, yeah, no more than 5 for the audition, like
Mhm.
then you're kind of getting out there. Now I might do a few varying auditions. So if it's a very short script or even just like one line, I'll do a
Mhm.
few takes of it differently, because I don't know maybe what they're looking for, or just to give a little bit more to them because it's so short, and maybe they like the second take the way I did that read.
Right.
So most of the time you do a couple of takes just the same way, but then take your best one. But every now and then you can do a couple takes of varying reads for them and send them all off.
Cool. Cool. So how many so you said you do about 5 auditions per day, and
Yeah, I mean, it kind of gives or takes. Like, I didn't
Mhm.
do any yet today, so but
after this
yeah,
webinar,
maybe
right?
after this. But I would say it'd be a good average because sometimes, yeah, there's only a couple. Sometimes, there's 7 or 8 that I do. So a good average would be like 5 a day. Yeah.
Cool, cool. That's a good amount. So you don't slate or anything when you do the auditions. You just kind of record into it whatever they had as a sample, and then that's what
Right.
you record and send up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've Googled that and listened to a few podcasts about people talking about slating,
Mm-hmm.
and that most people say that it's not a good idea. Uh, so if I do the multiple takes of the same line, then I'll say take one. So that
Okay.
way they'll know that there's going to be a couple. Um, I know some people that will say their name after they've read the script, versus not before, because they don't really want to hear that. They want to hear their script. So
Mhm.
you could say the script and then say your name after that.
Right.
But generally speaking, I just do the sample script. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Often, I mean, in the title and the MP3 file, you probably
It's
include.
there already, right?
Yeah.
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 If I do like kind of a really different sound, like a different voice with the take, sometimes I'll say my name afterwards in my normal speaking voice, because
Okay.
just in case, yeah, say I did a terrible Caribbean accent and then I said my name after, they're like, okay, didn't like that, but I really liked how she just said her name normally. Like, maybe we'll give her a second chance. So, you could do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, just give them what they want. They know who you are. They see it. Yeah, as you said on the
Mhm.
MP3. So yeah, I would
And so,
recommend.
how long do you think these auditions? So, if you do 5 a day, how long does one take you?
Yeah, so I do like a maybe 15 15 seconds like of a read for the audition, I guess.
Okay.
15-20 seconds, I think. Um of actual reading. So by the time I get the script kind of set up, everything's usually ready to go. So I just pretty much have to adjust the microphone, press record, do the takes. So, and then
Mhm.
go back to the computer and send in my proposal and upload it. So I'd say 5 minutes.
5 minutes per
Yeah,
audition.
per audition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
That kind of goes into Michael's question here. Do you send a full script? So no, 15 to 20 seconds, right?
Yeah, there are some times that people will ask for a full script, and
Mm-hmm.
I've asked about that, and they're not supposed
Mm-hmm.
to do that. So yeah, I'm still kind of learning that as well, because if you read just a tiny bit of it, they
Mm-hmm.
might not get maybe the best feel for it. So if it's a long script, then I'll do maybe the beginning and the end, or maybe even the beginning, the middle, of the end, or a part where maybe the company name is in the script so they can hear you say it.
True. Yeah.
So it might be a little bit more strategic in terms of what I'm reading.
Right.
And maybe yeah, if it's a long script, maybe they get a lot of additions in the first, and all the people are reading the first line or two. So if
Mm-hmm.
you read the middle or the end or something like that, where there's a difference between your take and the others, maybe that might be something that will put you, into the lead for that.
Yeah, like it should stand out a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Instead of hearing the same start over and over again, I mean, they can get tons of auditions. So if they press record on yours and you're saying a different section, that maybe gives you a chance to kind of showcase your vocal range or say their company name or whatever. That might give you more of an edge, or even just at least a message going, well, can you read a little bit more on this part? And you're like, sure. I've gotten those too, that they wanted to hear a little bit more, and I did it and then got hired. So
Cool.
yeah.
How about when you see a script that's like 3 words? I've seen that a few times. There's like a 3-word script.
Right.
Like there's no choice other than to read the whole thing, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, there's been ones that were literally just a line. And
Hmm.
like I said, I'll maybe do a couple different versions of that one line. But I'm not really worried about them taking it and not hiring me. It's not really something that's been on my radar. So if it's 3 words, I'm not gonna say two.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that small amount. I'm not too worried about that. So I will say, the whole thing, if it's small, for
If
sure.
it's small,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Awesome. And it kind of goes into kind of related. Do you send a lesser quality file until you get paid? I mean, through our site, it's just MP3 files for the audition, so they
Yeah.
are lossy,
Yeah,
compressed.
and I mean, I would recommend, and again, I'm not professional, but I would recommend not doing that, because if you send something of more poor quality, they're going to assume that's what you're going to give them in the end.
Hmm.
So give them what you're able to produce at the end. Like, if you have any qualms about something, then leave out a sentence or something. But I wouldn't make it less quality. It's just going to reflect badly on you. I mean, it's your voice. It's who you are, that you're promoting, that you're wanting to get hired. So you don't want to give them a scratchy kind of a take,
Hmm.
and then be like, but if you hire me, I'll give you something better. I don't really think that's not it. There's customer service element of any job, and it's no exception with this one. And you don't want to give them less than what you are capable of giving them.
Totally. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
um, other than your vocal performance itself, I think audio quality is the number 2 thing they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
After, just because the nature of the platform and how, you're not going to a professional studio. So you having the
No.
capability of doing it at home, they want to make sure it's
Yeah, that it
still going to
sounds
be good.
good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to use your take. I mean, they can take it back and edit it themselves. But if there's all kinds of scratchiness or your voice is going weird or something, they don't want that. That's you don't want to, and you don't want to showcase that that's what you can provide. It's not professional. So
Yeah, totally,
yeah.
totally. Um, no, it's very important. And then other than that, what do you think kind of gets you competitive or makes you stand out, in when you're auditioning?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's not too much you can do, I think. And that's part of it. I mean, with voice acting or acting in general, I mean, there's a bunch of rejection, and they're looking for something, and either you you have it or you don't. Like, it's not on you, it's just what they're listening for.
Hmm.
So there's not too much you can do. It's just you either kind of fit the bill, the kind of voice that they're searching for, or you don't.
Hmm.
So you can, you know yeah, there's not too much you can do. I mean, you send in your proposal, your offer, your of what you can. I mean, you can add, you would, do free edits after, um, or you're available for a phone session. So they know that you're available if they're not quite getting what they're wanting, that you're willing to spend more time with them on that project. You're not just going to give them the file, and then if they don't like it, well, it's like, too bad, pay me. So,
Yeah.
you can put those things, but I think it really just comes down to your voice and whether or not you're believable for your read, and what they're looking for. And there's really not much I don't think you can do except do what you do best. And if you have something there, you're gonna get hired
Cool.
by
Awesome.
someone.
Awesome. That's the one. So what's like, maybe we can, okay, how about in a very quick, like succinct kind of like, well, how'd you get started? You know what I mean? Like, how'd you really, from that first day you considered like, okay, maybe I can do this, to
Mm-hmm.
now today where you're sitting, where, you know, you're getting hired by companies and you're doing quite well.
Yeah.
What's like, what was your kind of process? What you need to do? What did you do? And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
know.
mine's not fascinating at all. I didn't think about it at all. Well, no, that's not totally true. I always thought it was kind of interesting, voice acting and just acting in general and stuff. Um, and I did get, told that kind of cliche saying, it's like, oh, you have a, great voice. You could do voice acting or this. And I'm like, whatever, nothing. And then I said it, just someone I knew had used voices.com through a casting call that they had completed some of their voiceover work. And they're like, oh, there's this website, you can do this. And so then she told me, oh, there's this website. And I'm like, what? No. And then I'm like, well, Google. So I went in on the voices.com website, and you can set up a free guest account, which I knew probably wouldn't equate to too much, but at least, you put yourself out there and get the feel. So I did that, and I was like, okay, well, I can't see what these jobs are. What are these jobs? Like, what would it look like? So then I'm like, do I want to pay, this amount of money for the year? I'm like, well, it's a year. That's a long time to be able to test it out. And then I got an offer of, I think it was like 150 off or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. So I just did it. Like, that was it. I'm like, well, you spend that amount on whatever, I don't know, food in a month or something, what have you, right? So it was just to justify and going, well, yeah, I've spent money on worse things. So if I get zero
Yeah.
jobs in a year, then at least I can say I tried it. It's not for me, clearly, and move
Mhm.
on. So for me, I just started putting the auditions out there. Within the week, I got a job that paid for my membership and also gave me profit. So for me, I'm like, if I don't get another job for the entire year, I've made $200. So why
Amazing.
not?
Tried
Yeah.
something new, and I'm glad, and you're enjoying it, right? Like it's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Like it's interesting. Yeah. There's quite a different variety of jobs and stuff. So it's neat to see what people are looking for.
Mhm.
The types of jobs they're looking for, whether it's the commercial or radio or just internal documents, or people looking to do like on hold phone recordings, like, so
Mhm.
thanks for calling, we're not here right now, and I'm like, wow, people are paying for this. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Toll booths and
Yeah,
yeah.
or voices for acting as someone else. So like a spokesperson for like a company, and they don't
Mhm.
actually have the spokesperson doing it. They hire someone else to do it. And so they, offer amount of money for that. And I'm like, whoa, that's so weird. Like, hi, I'm Karen. I'm this. So I find that interesting. That's just the kind of, yeah, the difference of types of jobs that people are looking for, and people are looking for their complete audiobooks to
Mhm.
be done over voiceover. And it's interesting. I find, so you have to be interested. I think if you're looking to just make a whole bunch of money, then you might get disappointed. Hopefully you don't, but you might. But if you think it's kind of interesting and you've always kind of wondered about it, or you have recently, it's a good place to start, and then see how you're feeling after that and see the feedback that you get.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And even here at our company, you know, we have a lot of support teams here that can kind of help you along the way and make sure you're kind of on the right path, and
Yeah,
you know, you're doing the
exactly.
right thing. So yeah, you're not drifting in the wind of the voiceover world here. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's
Uh,
right.
so that's great. So let's see if we before we wrap up here, let's see if we could do like a rapid, maybe a quick rapid round of questions, right?
Sure, yeah. All right. Fire.
Fire round.
Yeah.
So how much of an acting background do you feel you need to do this?
0. No, but you have to want it though, and you have to want to get better and research and try. If you think you can just read words and and you become, make hundreds of $1,000s, you're probably wrong. You might be right, but you're probably wrong. So it shouldn't stop you if you don't have any experience. I did not. It's just, if you think you want to give it a go, give it a go.
Cool. All right. Let's see. Do opportunities become greater when you're unionized? We have both on our website. We have union and non-union jobs. It's just which kind of avenue, which part of the website you're on. But the same. Do you have free trials? No, we just have a yearly membership. How can I build my profile? Create show reels from home. We'll send you some scripts if you need them, and just go through, fill as much information on your bio as possible.
Yeah,
Do you have
the
any?
bio's pretty straightforward. You can just, it has like the wizard, and so you can literally just click on it and fill it out. So that's pretty user friendly. So
Pretty easy, yeah. He
yeah,
didn't spend too much time on
get
that.
advice from others. What you should put, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Call us, we're here to help. So, your account manager, it'll probably be me, Dave, or Katie. So, do you have any recommendations to get quality background music for your demos?
So background music. Oh, what do I use? There's a couple of sites that you can, if you Google them, there's free sites that you can download the music from. So there's ones like of sound effects, and then there's ones of like just more like music, and you can search through them. I was just trying to remember what the site is that I use specifically, and of course I can't think of it.
Just search up. You can search up royalty-free music on Google.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
YouTube has a
exactly.
whole I think YouTube has their own kind of royalty-free page that you can check out too.
Yeah, there's a wealth out there. Just have a search and you'll find the sites you can download for. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Lightning round. Have you ever been asked to appear in person to audition? I think we went over this. You haven't yet.
No, I mean there are some ones that will say, can only they want it in session only, like Chicago people only.
Mm-hmm.
And so then of course I don't apply. So, but there hasn't been anything locally that they wanted you to come in that I could come in for. There's been New York and Chicago, different places that have asked for that.
Okay.
So depending where you live, there could be opportunities for you to go in studio.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any jobs coming from outside of the US? I think we answered that. Yeah, like we're worldwide. So
Yeah.
have cool. Well, you know what? We're kind of running out of time. So if there's any questions that we didn't answer, you can email me at shan.dhami@voices.com. That's sean.domi@voices.com. I can answer any more questions you may have. If you have any questions for Katie, I can relay it to her, and she can get back to you through us. And Katie, thank you so much. Do you have anything to promote, or do you got like a SoundCloud or something? Instagram, Twitter?
No.
No.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. But yeah, if there are certain questions you wanted to see, some like you wanted me to specifically answer, feel free to send it to Sean. I'd be happy to answer it. But no, otherwise, you can see me on voices.com for now. And we'll see.
Well, thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
See you next time.